Hey friends, I want to talk about something that surprises a lot of people in recovery, especially people who are doing everything right. It's tempting to believe that the longer you stay abstinent, the easier it gets, that the cravings just steadily fade with time. But actually, neuroscience shows something more complicated and honestly more important. But before we get into it, please like this video and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy content like this. So there's a phenomenon called the incubation of craving. And if you don't know about it, it can feel incredibly discouraging when cravings show up months into recovery. Let's break this down. Incubation of craving refers to a time-dependent increase in cue-induced craving. In plain language, cravings triggered by cues like seeing a binge food or walking past a familiar place you've been before, or feeling an old emotional pattern that you used to binge over, that can actually intensify over time, even while you're abstinent. And here's the key part, it doesn't happen right away. So cue-induced craving often peaks weeks or months after quitting, not in the first few days. And that is very different from what most people expect. There are two different kinds of craving and they behave differently. So there's baseline craving, and that is your background urge, what you feel without any specific trigger or cue or stimulus. That type of craving usually does fade fairly predictably with abstinence. Cue-induced craving, on the other hand, is triggered by reminders, visual, emotional, environmental. There's so many cues, and it could be outside of conscious awareness that can incubate. So you might feel better day by day, and then suddenly get hit hard by a trigger weeks or months in. Here's what research consistently shows across substance use and food studies. In the first week or so, cue-induced craving is often relatively low. Between about 1 week and 2 to 6 months, cue-induced cravings rise and peak. After 6 to 12 months, it gradually begins to decline. Meanwhile, baseline craving is kind of doing the opposite. It steadily goes down. So it might be high at first and then it just goes down. So those two curves are moving in different timelines. And so that mismatch is why relapse risk can increase after the early phase of recovery. This isn't about willpower. The incubation effect is driven by changes in specific brain systems. Over time, these systems become more reactive to cues, even as everyday baseline urges calm down. So the brain may feel quieter overall, but be more sensitive to triggers. And so that's why cue exposure is one of the strongest predictors of relapse. And yes, this happens with food too. It's not just about cocaine and those type of drugs. Hyperpalatable foods like sugar and hyperpalatable combinations show the same incubation pattern. In animal studies, food-seeking behavior can increase after 30 to 60 days of abstinence. And human studies mirror this. Some people report stronger cue-driven urges weeks or months after stopping binge foods, even when hunger is low and motivation is high. This changes how we think about relapse. First, cravings getting stronger at 1 to 6 months does not mean recovery is not working. Secondly, baseline craving and cue-induced cravings are not the same thing, and they require different strategies. Third, short-term treatment models miss this window entirely. In animal models, several things reliably reduce incubated craving. So environmental enrichment, physical activity, and also targeting dopamine, glutamate, and opioid pathways. In humans, this supports what we see clinically, that recovery works best when it's long-term, when it's embodied, and it's cue aware. And it's not just about the white knuckling of the urges, but learning how to work with triggers and environment and nervous system state and time. The bottom line is that recovery is not a straight line. It's kind of winding like the path of a butterfly. And understanding the incubation of craving doesn't make recovery harder, it just makes it more honest. And it reminds us why continued support, long-term thinking, and realistic expectations are essential in recovery. You're not broken, you're not behind. Your brain is doing exactly what brains do. And with the right support, this phase does pass. If this video was helpful to you in any way, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, my friends.